Bueno, ante todo, gracias. Thank you for being here this morning. I am not going to read anything. I'm going to speak from my heart. I'm going to speak what I feel, and I am going to tell you ahead of time that we support 100%, maybe 200%, the visit of the Pope to Cuba. So it must be understood that what we are going to do is a positive approach, not a protest against anyone, much less against the Pope. Actually, it's our way to reach the soul of the people, the conscience of the people, so that they engage in helping things change in Cuba. We're not interested in poking the eyes of anyone. We're interested in stimulating attitudes that will contribute to those changes that we need. ¿Alguien tiene un teléfono que chifla mucho ahí? Ok, quiten el teléfono, por favor. So what we're going to announce today is a campaign we call a campaign of conscience to reach out to the Pope to ask him to mediate, just like he has done between the United States and Cuba, to mediate in the new political environment that has been developed in regards to Cuba, to address two very important issues that I think are the most crucial ones at this point. The first issue is family reunification. Cuba is a country that has the largest amount of families divided because of the policies of its government. Every family unit in the country has been divided. 20% of Cuba's population lives in exile. Even the two leaders of the Cuban Revolution, actually the two dictators, their family is divided. So that has lasted 56 years, and with the family division they have established a whole industry where they get between $4 and $6 billion every year from the family division, from the prices that they charge for calling Cuba, for traveling to Cuba, for sending medications to Cuba, and all those things that are so necessary in order to keep the ties of the Cuban families. So there is no stimulation on the there is no stimuli on the side of the Cuban government to stop dividing the Cuban people. On the contrary, we have been turning to a sort of a type of merchandise. The more they send out, the more they get money back into Cuba for the family division through this industry that has been established. So this is a crucial point, because the Pope is coming to the United States to talk about the family division, precisely. And it cannot be talked about family division in this hemisphere without looking to Cuba and saying, wow, what is this? The family division goes beyond what I have narrated. As you know, once in Cuba you say, I am going to go from here because I don't like the politics here, I don't like maybe the way that the economy is or whatever, you get branded and you get a stamp in your passport saying you have to leave permanently, you cannot come back. So as part of family reunification is the part of the Cuban exiles being able to go back to their homeland to live there if they wish to do so. To stop exploitation of the pain of the Cuban family division, to allow those who want to go back to live in Cuba to do so. That's their homeland. I know many elderly people that talk to me and they cry every time they do that, because they say, you know, I'm already 70 years old, 80 years old, 90 years old. I don't want to die by myself. I want to go back to my family. And he can't, or she can't. The obstacles are very hard to overcome. And those who travel once in a while, or call once in a while, they have to pay such a huge amount of money that these contacts don't happen very often. And that needs to be changed. Now, I'm not here to, as I said before, poke the eye of the Cuban government. I'm here to say to the Cuban government, let's work towards a solution. I'm here to say to the Pope, please, raise your voice to find solutions, not to recriminate, because then larger obstacles will appear and we will not be able to overcome them. Let's not politicize something that is so human, so humane. That's our first point. The other point is that in all these encounters between the United States and Cuban government, where the Pope has been instrumental, and the European Union is meeting with the Cuban government and Canadian government, in all these nice new environment where old enemies have become friends, the big absent is the Cuban people, the voice of the Cuban people. Everybody's talking about what the Cuban people need. Everybody's talking about what the United States capitalists need, what the Cuban government needs economically, but nobody talks about the needs of the Cuban people. Cuban people need very simple things. They need to know that they can dream of being happy in their homeland, that they can put maybe a plate of food in their family's table, that they can work and feel happy living in their country and not have to look to another country to be able to do those things that anybody does in a normal country. They want to know that they have a roof over their head, not holes that rain every time because the government doesn't take care or can take care of their needs. They need to know that their medications to approach different illness or diseases that are in Cuba, that are from last century, but that the investment is not made in the medications, is made in the police. We need to approach those things seriously. We need to approach the social and humane issue aside from politics. And this is what the message will be. I will begin a hunger strike that is not being called a hunger strike. I just mention it now so that you know what I will do. I will begin a fast of conscience without any food, just water, to appeal respectfully to the conscience of the Pope to address these two issues and more.